Okay, so let's look at the transformation example number 4 from that handout that I gave you in class. Um, so in this one, instead of me giving you the first equation and the last equation, I'm giving you the first graph and calling that f. And then I give you a new function g in terms of f. So, so we have to figure out how to handle something like that. So this is the graph of f right here. That's the graph we're given. And so the general point that I'm going to pick on f is just, this is y equals. So if my a is my x value, then I just plug it in here and my y value is f of a. So it's a very general idea there. I know that this has to turn into g of x equals negative 3f of negative 2x plus 4. Now, before, we would get stuff where it was g of some weird looking thing with a's in it equals some other thing with a's in it, and then we'd take the ugly a term and turn it into x. Well, now what we're going to do is we're going to take the ugly x term and turn it into an a term instead. So what I'm going to say over here is negative 2x plus 4. I'm going to call that a. And so then I get negative 2 equals a minus 4. So then x is going to be a minus 4 over negative 2. Okay, so that means that g of x I can now write as g of a minus 4 over negative 2. And I can write negative 3 f of negative 2x plus 4 as negative 3 f of a, because that's what we set that as. So then this function right here, the way that this function's set up, that tells me that it's going to go through the general point given by this. This is my x, this is my y value. Right? If I plug in this value, I get that value. So now I can see how to get from this general point to that general point. So let's take a look. To go from a to a minus 4 over negative 2, I'm going to have to first subtract the 4, then divide by 2, and then multiply it by negative 1. So I could go left 4, then I'm going to divide by 2, so that's like a horizontal shrink by 1/2. And then I need to make it negative. That's like multiplying the whole thing by negative 1. So that would be a horizontal reflection. And remember, that means about the y-axis. And then to get from f of a to negative 3 f of a, well, I'll do a vertical stretch by 3, and then I'll do a vertical reflection. You could do these in opposite order if you want to, just like I could have done these in an opposite order if I wanted to. But in general, this left 4 has to come first. And it doesn't really matter if I mix up horizontal then vertical. Really, you just want the normally you'd say, okay, let's do the horizontals and then we'll do the verticals. Okay, so now we've got a list of transformations that'll get us from f to g. I also know that my general point on f turns into this general point on g. So a f of a, anything on the original graph that has a f of a turns into a minus 4 over negative 2, negative 3 f of a. So we can take our 4 points here and figure out what happens to those. So one of them is negative 5, 2. So that point is going to turn into, this is my a right here, negative 5. So if I plug in negative 5 for a, I get negative 5 minus 4 is negative 9, over negative 2 is positive 9 over 2. And then if I plug in 2 for my f of a, right, f of a is 2, then I'm going to get negative 3 times 2, so negative 6. Okay, another point on here is negative 3, 4. So if I plug that in, this is my A, this is my f of A. So if I plug that into the point that it's going to turn into, let's see, what's that become? Negative 3 minus 4, negative 7 over negative 2 is positive 7 over 2. And then when I plug in the 4, it's negative 3 times 4, because 4 is my f of A, negative 12. And then I've got the point 3, negative 1. And so that's going to turn into, let's see, 3 minus 4 over negative 2, so negative 1 over negative 2, positive a half. And positive 3. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. Did I mess something up here? 3 minus 4 over negative, positive half, yeah. And then 5 comma 1 is going to turn into, let's see, negative 1 over 2. Yeah, negative a half. And then negative 3. So if I call these 4 points A, B, C, D, here's A, here's B, here's C, here's D. I'll call these points A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. And then I can plot those 4 points. So let's see here. I'll do it like this. Negative, let's see, how far do I have to go? It's mostly over here. I only go to negative 1/2. So let's say this is negative 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How far down do I have to go? Oh, I got to go all the way down to negative 12. So let's go by threes. So negative 3, whoa, negative 3, negative 6, negative 9, negative 12, and positive 3 up here. So A prime is at 4.5, negative 6. So 4.5, negative 6 would go here. B prime is 3.5, negative 12, down here. C prime is 1/2, positive 3, right here. And D prime is negative 1/2, negative 3, right here. And then since A was connected to B with a straight line, B is connected to C with a straight line, C is connected to D with a straight line, that means A is connected to B prime with a straight line, those two are connected with a straight line, and those two are connected with a straight line. Okay, so there's everything we needed. Let's see, we have the translations that we needed in an order that works, and we have our final graph too. Okay, hope that helps.